Can burdock root help alleviate stress? I don't have a whole lot of experience, Russ, with using burdock root to help people alleviate stress, so I don't want to comment with a lack of experience using that particular herbal. How important are vitamin C and vitamin E for the adrenal glands? I think I mentioned vitamin C already. Vitamin E is important for systemic function of the body, but it doesn't play a specific major role in adrenal gland biochemistry. Susan says, great topic. I had spring fatigue badly. I started daily vitamins, getting outside more, and strictly adhering to my gluten-free diet. It took some time, but my energy is back up. How can I address losing weight on a whole food gluten-free diet? So weight should not be the focus of what you're trying to address, Susan. And not to say that it isn't important to you. It's just simply to say that health, if your emphasis on your choices is health, then your weight loss will follow. And I see that time and time again in thousands of people where I generally try not to get them centrically focused around their weight and more specifically focused around their health. So if you're struggling with weight, I'd encourage you to go back and watch some of my past episodes on weight loss and weight loss strategies, because it's a pretty in-depth topic, and I think your answer could be best served in an in-depth way than just in a blip. How can I find a doctor that will actually address all these areas? Yeah, good question, Judy. There's not very many of them in my experience. Medicine, this is just my humble opinion today, medicine's broken. Most doctors that go to medical school, there's no nutrition being taught. It's the fundamentals of pharmacology. And if you want drugs to solve your symptoms, it's a great place to be. Go visit a medical doctor. But it's a very frustrating place because so many of you that follow and listen in, you don't want that. You don't want to be mitigated with or have your symptoms mitigated by chemical manipulation. You want a real solution. You want a viable answer. And that's where some of the best ways to find a doctor is word of mouth. Like other people in your community that have maybe visited a good doctor locally that have found a traumatic change in their health through these types of practices. That would be probably the best way to find it. You can always call our office too and set up a Zoom consultation if you'd like to. And if it's if it looks like a good fit for you, you can move forward. Let's see here. Robert says, gotta have my coffee, can't give that up. Are there supplements to lower cortisol? It's not that there are really supplements that lower cortisol. There are supplements that can help you cope and adapt to stress. So these are known as adaptogenic supplements that can interfere with the way cortisol works in a more natural way. But I don't know that I would rely on supplements to lower cortisol. If your cortisol is high, I'd want to figure out why it's high and first address that. And caffeine in that coffee can be a reason why. Not for everyone. I'm not saying to say everybody needs to stop drinking coffee 100%, but a lot of people overdo the coffee, right? Instead of drinking just a normal sized cup, they're pounding 20 ounces of pot of coffee in the morning and another couple of cups in the afternoon to get a charge. If you're doing that, the odds that you're in adrenal fatigue is very, very high. You're using caffeine as a stimulant to get through your day. And that's one of the symptoms of adrenal fatigue. Betty says, I was on steroids for years and have small amounts of osteoporosis and taking some supplements and exercise. Any other things I can do? Betty, one of the best things that you can do if you were on steroids for years is get with a nutrition doc and have them check your vitamin and mineral status, because chronic steroid use depletes magnesium, depletes calcium, depletes zinc, depletes vitamin D. And so looking at those, and it also depletes vitamin C, so looking at those and more would be very critical to help you understand what more you can do nutritionally to support your bone remineralization and growth. Will fixing my adrenal function improve osteoporosis? It can. There are definitely linkages between the two. But osteoporosis is multifactorial as well. So it's not just fix the adrenals and your osteoporosis goes away. It's ask why you have osteoporosis, ask why you have adrenal dysfunction, and address the why as opposed to not, right? Because that's where people get into trouble too, is they never ask why. They just ask, what can I do, without asking, why do I need to do these things? Or why is this happening to me? Why are these symptoms there? Why did that organ begin to fail? Why is the most important question that you can ask. Any scientific medical validity on the concoction of cream of tartar, sea salt, vitamin C, and orange juice to help adrenals? The only scientific validity there would be you could remove the cream of tartar, you could keep the sea salt, and you could keep the vitamin C. You could get rid of the orange juice and just use vitamin C and water, and you would have the same outcome or impact. And that's because vitamin C is tremendously beneficial for adrenal gland function, as is salt. Many people with hypoadrenal function are salt deprived. We live in this salt, fearing of salt society. Everybody fears salt for the fear of the high blood pressure, but really salt never caused high blood pressure. Chemical MSG and processed food are the primary drivers of high blood pressure, not actual salt. So I think doctors, just like their fear of the sun, and there are a lot of generalized fears that doctors have that make no sense. Like, don't go outside because sunshine will give you cancer, even though most skin cancers occur in areas where we get the least amount of sun exposure. What are some other common examples of doctor phobia? Don't go on a restricted diet because you'll hurt yourself. Like, a gluten-free diet is somehow dangerous. It's nonsense. And again, if they understood nutrition, then they wouldn't speak in those ways. It's just unfortunate that they are put on a pedestal by the vast majority of society when they know the least about health. They know the most about chemical manipulation. They know the least about health. So if you're talking about health restoration, in my opinion, a hospital and a doctor's office are probably two of the worst places that you could be. Is collagen a good thing for celiacs to take? It can be. Collagen can be very helpful as a protein. Many celiacs have low protein and have been malnourished for years, and so collagen as supplemental can be very effective. You can get collagen from food as well. But yes, is a simple way to answer that question. Can lifelong coffee drinkers reverse adrenal fatigue, cortisol issues? Yes, you sure can. Again, anything that, a lot of people lose hope, and I understand. I can understand why. Sometimes it can be a challenge. You're struggling and you're trying to figure out answers to your health problems, and you run against brick wall after brick wall. And most doctors are again, not much help oftentimes, and so you end up in this state where you feel like, is there any hope? And I just want to say, anything that breaks down in your body can be repaired by your body. Your body has innate intelligence imbued by God, so it's the ultimate power. You have to tap into that power. And one of the ways you have to tap into that power is through belief, through hope. You have to have the right psychology. So don't ever lose hope. Number two is you have to have behavior change. You have to embrace behavior change. There's a psychology to getting better for many people, and that is the level of pain, discomfort, or disease has to outpace your fear of change. And if that is true, then you can make and embrace the change, because there's only up to go. You only have upward to go. You're at the bottom already. So don't lose hope. Stay the course. Yes, you can heal, and that is true of any question that comes in. Anyone who ever asks, can this heal, can that heal, can this heal? Yeah, the answer is yes to all of them. The only time we can't heal something is if you've had an organ removed. So we can't grow a new adrenal gland. We can't grow a new kidney. Now, one of your kidneys might grow bigger. You can't grow a new colon if you've had part of it removed. You can't regrow ovaries, right? So surgical removal of organs and glands, you can't change that, but it still doesn't mean that your body's function can't improve. But that's really the only thing that we can't grow back, right, is when we have surgical removal of something. Karen's asking, follow-up to the mold. Is there a mold test I can take to rule in or out mold? Yeah, Karen, mycotoxin testing is probably one of the best ways to understand whether or not you have an environmental mold problem. So I would encourage you to check that out. Let's see here. So Aaron's asking about, in regards to hormonal imbalance and chemicals causing adrenal dysfunction, how does HRT, hormone replacement therapy, affect adrenal function? It's a very complicated question, Aaron, and even is specifically about estrogen. So it depends, because a lot of women are taking HRT and don't need it. And they're taking it to mitigate other symptoms. And some women have actually had their estrogen levels checked, and they're constantly being monitored and being tested. And so they're on HRT, and they're keeping their levels balanced within what's known as a physiological range. In essence, let's say you've had your ovaries removed and your doctor put you on hormone replacement estrogen because of that, and they're regulating that dose, and they're regulating the quantity floating around in your bloodstream to try to emulate what your body could naturally produce. In that regard, that could actually have beneficial effects, but taking too much estrogen and creating an estrogen imbalance or hyperestrogenism could have negative effects. So it just depends on the reason and how closely you're having that monitored. Is it a blood test for mold? You know, mycotoxin testing is what again, going back to that, mycotoxin, that's urine testing. Advice to address EMF sensitivities and adrenal fatigue, in addition to avoidance. No, Rita, avoidance is the only way. And I know that sounds, for some of you, may sound really challenging because, you know, everywhere you go, there's going to be some degree of Wi-Fi around you, some degree of EMF around you. I think where you really can control it best, Rita, is in your home, is hardwire everything. You can hardwire your internet to your computers and other devices, and you can hardwire those, and you can reduce dramatically the quantity of EMF exposure. Other things that you can do is you can buy an EMF reader, a tricord reader that measures pockets in your house that may have higher levels of EMF. So for example, maybe you have an outlet behind your bed that emits an EMF field, and you're sleeping there every night and it's hitting your head, and that could be a part of the problem. But if you have a meter where you can actually measure and detect levels, because these are unseen energies, at least unseen to the human eye, then it may allow you to position your bed in a different location. Or if you have a favorite place to sit in the evening, and there's a pocket of EMF around that chair, you may particularly identify that and be able to move the furniture a little bit in your favor. So, there are a lot of different strategies there that maybe you haven't tapped into that you could try. Let's see. Let's go down on the right. A friend of mine lost a kidney and an adrenal gland to cancer. He was in remission for 5 years and then got jabbed and boosted, and the cancer returned. That's a big problem. That's a big, big problem, Mark. And your friend is not the only person that we've seen that in. The cancer rates, I think, we're going to see astronomically rising over the next several years as a result of what's going on. What do you say to people who use alcohol to deal with stress? I don't. And I understand the position. It's, people that use alcohol to deal with stress, it depends on who they are, right? So if they're coming to me and they're saying, Dr. Osborne, I need your help. Can you help me? Then I'm going to hit them in between the eyes, like, not literally, but with the truth, with the honesty. Alcohol doesn't help. Alcohol is a coping mechanism. We have to find other coping mechanisms. We have to do things differently, right? But if it's a family member, or if it's somebody, at home, and you're trying to, and I'm not saying you're doing this, but it's not. Sometimes our intentions are not. What we have as intentions in our heart are not the perceptions that other people garner from the conversation. So, like you telling somebody they need to quit drinking because it damages their adrenal glands, maybe perceived as nagging, and that won't help. That will only create a wedge in a relationship and drive a person further into that bottle, possibly, right? So part of it is, that's why I say I wouldn't say anything to somebody. I generally don't make a habit of trying to give health advice to people who don't come to see me directly, unless I'm talking generalizations on Monday night show, in which, I try to help everybody a little bit. But when it comes to family members, you might plant some seeds, but I would be real cautious about how you do that, because generally speaking, in families don't respect other family members' opinions about their health. It's just not something, they're not coming to you for expert advice there. And so you've got to be real cautious about how you approach it. Okay, I think we need to start looking at wrapping it up. I think a couple of kind of last second deals here. One on night shifts. Do people who work night shifts tend to have adrenal fatigue? They are at greater risk, GN, night shift workers. I worked night shifts for years in the military. Definitely affected me. But yeah, they tend to have a greater degree of potential there. Did you say we could do a Zoom consult through your office? Yes, Magda, you can. You can reach out to my office. Maybe we can drop a number in, 281-240-2229. You can reach out and you can set something like that up. Okay, I think I'm going to go home and eat. I think you should do the same thing if you haven't already, and hope your meal is great, and hope your week is great. And if you want more, if you're new to the show and you want more, we do this every Monday night. It's a live Q&A. Every Monday night we cover a deep and in-depth topic. But come visit me at glutenfreesociety.org. Make sure you're signed up there for our newsletter. It's free. Send you a lot of information, including link access to Monday night's shows. So if you want to get reminders, it's the best place to go sign up and make sure you get reminders. So hope you have a fantastic week. We'll see you next Monday for another episode of Pick Dr. Osborne's Brain. Take care. Hey, if you've got a functional medicine or health question that you'd like me to answer for you, make sure you send me an email, glutenology@gmail.com, and we'll do our best to create a video answer just for you. Have a great day.